searching for free software to cut video. And coronavirus, I had to dump everything and redo everything. And I got it done. I still see some weird things happening here and there. So. Michelle and Erica comment for people dinosaur. You got the letter pulled up. Typing in the stuff for. I just got my emails. Sorry. Taking me a second to get caught up. I thought I came to your class at the right time today. Was I coming at a different time? Cause
I think you came a little later.
I came like 5-10 minutes later maybe.
Yeah, I did. We were further along.
Yeah, because I missed the do now.
Was more. You missed the do now. The do now was I just had them do an exit ticket to check if they matched.
Okay, so you just speeded up the do now instead of having the whole.
Yeah.
Okay, because I remember we talked about yesterday. You wanted more time for them to practice on the problems.
Yes.
Okay, I thought I went too far. So how did it go today?
It wasn't it wasn't easy by any means today, but overall, I think it went well. The kids are responding more to the track expectation. I do see some of them are doing a little bit naturally, and I feel more natural with it. It's not 100% there yet at all, but also the practice. It wasn't not 100% knowing how to do it. It is really challenging, but I did see majority of students really thinking about the problems, starting, doing their pictures and just really thinking about the problem a lot more than I had previously. They were recognizing when they weren't understanding what was going on. More self-aware.
So we're in our opening. We're going to review goals and precise phrase. Talk about yesterday's the focus big goal and CFS steps that I gave you yesterday. And then talk about new steps moving forward. Thanks for all the good feedback on the survey. I appreciate it. I don't want to take credit for the suggestion about the concrete model because it totally came from you. It came from last time I was in your classroom when you did the box with because on the survey you said thank you for the
reminder.
But I really want to give you credit for that because I really remember the box and the flat piece inside the box about volume, and that made me think, okay, she needs to do something just like that this time. So thank you for giving me the credit, but I have to give it back to you.
Okay.
Before we discuss positives, let's review your big goals. Remember, your big goal for the year is to be rated what on the MTC rubric? Strong. And what about your school rubric? Did y'all ever figure it out?
We have a rubric. We just had our mid-year evaluation. I just saw it for the first time. So when I looked at the rubric, it would be, my goal is to be a 4. I'm at a 3 right now. It's just behavior management.
So the rubric doesn't have academics on there, or they just talked about
No, they do actually. And I think for those, so like rigor and engagement, my goal is average. When you put them all together, probably a 3.
Okay.
Right now, I'm closer to the 2.
Okay. And that's why those are the areas that we're working on this week to kind of push you all the way to that strong category. Makes sense. So we are pretty much aligned. So thinking about the lesson I saw today, what are 2 things that you did well that you should continue to do?
Implementing the track expectation. This is the same way. And continue to use the real life model. I wanted to cut them, but I couldn't find time here. So we'll do that tomorrow. But the real life, big old piece of bread was the best.
That's one of the things I have for my positives. You use a Sunway sandwich as a real life anchor model for the children to visualize, starting with the whole, and it directly relates to your classroom objective for the week of getting them to visualize how you start. And it went back to our discussion yesterday about using an anchor, a real life anchor. Also, I really thought it was powerful how you were stopping the class. I don't know if we discussed this, if this was your plan or you just did it on the fly today, stopping them at every point of the problem solving.
Yeah.
So, was that on the fly?
It was.
I thought it was, but I didn't think we had talked about that yesterday. It really, really worked. Having them stop after each step. Okay, everybody visualize. Okay, now everybody draw what happened first. Okay, let's stop and talk about what's right, what's wrong. I was sitting back there and I really heard the girls at this back table say, oh, okay, I get it, because they were realizing that they were starting with the action of the problem and not starting with the side. I was like, yes, that's what you have to do when you realize, okay, this is going south, rather than have them go all the way to the problem and then go all the way back and unpack it, just stop in the middle. Very good. Excellent teaching, knowing how to stop on the fly. Very, very good. So let's talk about your focus big goals and CFS steps. So the first goal was a holdover from the day before, was to have the students track, noticing and responding to misbehavior by completing the BMC whenever one person is speaking. So your direction was to say track the student, narrate the positive of 2 to 3 students, then give an immediate consequence to anyone who wasn't. So with those 3 steps, what is your mastery level? Remember, we're using did not master, approaching mastery, and mastering.
I think not mastery here.
Okay, so let's talk about the first. Let's talk about them one at a time. So the first one is say, track, blah blah blah. So track job.
Yes, there was like I think 2 or 3 instances where a little more of a. Like I just had to quickly call. I just had it from afar when I was up at the front board to give me the number real quick just to keep it going. But I think when the intent, every single time when the intent was that I was circulating to track the student because it was going to be for a while, I did do the track.
Okay.
Student.
So yeah, mastery. Because you said it each time you wanted a student to speak, not just say one word answer, but each time. And then narrate the positive 2 or 3 students?
Yes. Each time I said track, I did narrate.
So mastery or approach to mastery? Okay.
I think mastery.
And then give an immediate consequence.
I mean, felt like every time.
So what would you say?
No
approach to
mastery?
Okay, because?
Because every time after I narrated the positive of 2, I immediately gave that consequence, and I noticed like consistently it was the same student, Brock Bolt, but that student was consistently the one that was not doing the tracking, and he had not been held to that expectation a lot this year. So I think this was a good way of calling it.
I agree. I had mastery for the first one because I had noted that you said it 13 times. I counted 13 times today. And each of the 13 times I noted that you narrated. And today, especially today, you were very consistent in giving consequences for tracking. A couple of times yesterday you were missing them, but today you were even giving multiple kids who were not tracking. So I saw you getting 100%. I know there was a little pushback by it, but I think it was those kids who were constantly getting them that were pushing back. My only little nugget for that is tomorrow, make a blanket statement at the beginning of class. Set the expectation at the beginning of class.
I did today,
but
I think, they're not always
just remind them that it's going to happen.
Yep.
Just let them know. Okay. Next step is tracking. So immediately track each misbehavior.
Oh, right.
After giving the consequence. That was the second focus big goal for today. And one step was to track each misbehavior immediately after giving. So how do you
I made a really deliberate effort. I know there were, I think, 2 instances in the class period where I didn't, but so I don't know if you put that as approaching, but
So what do you say?
I think that it's something I'm still going to need to work on to build a habit of it. So
Okay,
I
so for mastery. Okay.
Or mastery.
I don't know which one. First, you know the rules. Like you guys know
Okay,
what
all
we
right.
do.
So for today, I think if you saw it, it would be mastery. But I know that it's not a habit yet. It was a very deliberate focus. I really, really worked hard on it today.
I had approaching mastery because there were two
Okay.
that you gave at the back of the class when you didn't have your clipboard with you. And so I didn't know if once you came to the front, if you did it or not.
Okay.
I put next to it doubt that she did
Okay.
because that was right when we were getting in the midst of the lesson where they were breaking into partners. And right after that is when you did the change on the fly. And so I said, I know she didn't mark those two. So
Let's go for it.
it's approaching mastery, but she didn't do every single one.
Right.
So approaching mastery for that. So you have mastery for your focus big goal and approaching mastery for the second.
Okay.
Okay. So we're gonna hold on to the second focus big goal.
I move that up to the first focus.
To the first focus. Okay.
Okay.
So the thing that I noticed today was that you did a great job of laying out the model of the sandwiches and how you start, and this is how it started. But you never did refer back to it once they got going. And I wanted to, because when you set the anchor, just like an anchor chart, you have to refer back to it. So just like when they kept getting confused about, do we start with 4 cups or do we start with 1/3? Take them back to the sandwich.
Great.
When you start with the sandwich, did we start in pieces or did we start with one sandwich that we had to break into pieces to serve people? So that's what I want to make
Great.
the next
Okay.
focus
Thank you.
big goal about, is how do you refer back to the anchor chart or whatever it is, whatever the anchor is. So we can say anchor chart or the model you use to anchor.
Okay.
So open up your guiding framework.
Okay. So I didn't open this. We didn't use this. Did we use this?
Not yesterday, no.
Okay, so yesterday.
Because they were really, really clear. The one just because we kept one from the day before, and the only other one was tracked, and it was only one step.
Okay. So this one.
Mhm.
No, I already have it down like 3 times.
There. The computer's looking like mine, slow poke.
All right.
I enjoy my dinosaur. So the right here, we're here. What is the problem that has been identified in your class?
Not referring back to.
Referring back, yes. Referring back to the anchor or the anchor chart. The anchor model or the anchor chart. Okay, so then go down to D. What strategy would you use to solve this problem? So what strategy would you use?
Each time when I bring, we'll refer back to it.
So when would you refer back to it? How would you refer back to it?
When during whole class interruptions, when I notice misunderstandings, either an individual or a whole group, refer back to the model.
So to clarify misunderstanding. And then that's the input, so go down. So now we're going to write your focus because so write it right there. I like to write a little bit right there. So EWB 18 will be able to improve student engagement, lesson execution, and critical thinking by referring to the model or the anchor chart. When clarifying, what were you trying? Misunderstandings. When clarifying misunderstanding of the group during independent practice.
Yeah, or what is that called? What it's before.
Guided
But
practice.
it's not really guided. Yes, it
So
is more
guided and you can say during guided practice and independent practice. Because today it was more of a guided practice, but tomorrow it'll be independent practice more. Okay? So, what's going to be your first step? So,
Let me do it underneath this.
so number 1. Each time the class is brought back for, what do you call that when you bring them back? So when you, it's not a whole group discussion.
It's like a whole group, it's like an interruption.
Okay, so each time there's a whole class interruption by the teacher. Refer to the model to clarify the confusion.
The confusion.
Or what do you call that? Like common misconceptions. Okay, so example. So what would you have said today?
When I brought them back together, I would say, let's refer back to our model. Let's refer back to our look for prep.
So, but you have to tell them. So you would say, you have to be specific. You would tell them. So today you would have said, thinking about our sandwich, how many did we start with? You know what I'm saying? How many parts did we start with? So thinking about our sandwich, at the beginning, how much did we start with? Now think about Tom. How many is he starting with? Because that's what I mean by refer them back to. So make them think.
Okay.
Connect the new to the known.
Right. Connect them. So based off of the misunderstanding, that'd be the first thing.
That's the first thing you want to do. So you want to say, okay, so look at this sandwich. How much did we start with? Did we start with pieces or did we start with a whole? How many wholes did we start with? How much was it? And we said 3 feet. Now look at this problem. How much is he starting with? Is he starting with 1/3 or is he starting with what? And then they would have, hopefully someone would have said, he started with 4 cups.
Right.
Because the problem says starting with 4
Yeah,
cups.
right.
Okay, so example, think about our example, or our model, with the Subway sandwich this morning. How many sandwiches did we start with? Was it in parts or was it whole? Okay.
Yeah.
Now look at your problem. Is he starting with parts or whole? How many? And step 2.
Every time.
What is our movement? If there's no movement for a certain amount of time.
Okay.
Okay.
To the question. Okay.
And so then ask the, wait for the answers, get answers from the student. Give wait time. And then 3, call on students to give answers. And then do you always ask for proof?
Like, how do you know?
Yeah.
Or,
Definitely ask, how do you know? Okay, so tomorrow you're going to use the same anchor. Okay, so this will be perfect for tomorrow. So on top of, so you're still keeping, you're tracking. Your second focus big goal has to do with this, holding on to the anchor and referring back to the anchor. Okay?
I'm going to be referring to, you think it's focus tomorrow on just referring on the one model anchor? Because I have been referring to this one also.
Well, the model is different than the,
Yes.
what do you call it? The acronym, no, definitely keep that so they can keep the steps in order. The model is just how you apply those steps. Because they have to visualize and draw.
Okay.
So this morning you had them visualize the sandwich, then someone come and model how to draw the pieces. So referring them back to that is two separate things. And I think you can use both. But definitely the sandwich as your model. Okay. So tonight, what do you need to do to prepare?
Identify the common misconceptions in my lesson plans. So where should I put this one now? Let me go back to the other paper. Okay. So indicate in lesson plans.
Where you think they might get hung up. But be prepared to be on the fly, because today you didn't think that was going to be their misconception.
Right.
But definitely know that the first step is going to be a place you want to hit tomorrow, because that was a problem today.
So practice or script out. Like I want to refer to that part of my lesson.
Script out how you refer.
Back to the model at the start of class.
Okay. And I would say practice giving consequences and tracking. Just so you can practice having the clipboard in your hand.
Yep.
So let's do a little application and see if we can help you kind of script out what you would say.
Okay.
So the first common misconception we'll probably have taken care of.
Right. I think it's going to be though tomorrow. So tomorrow they're going to receive some more problems. Kind of similar, and I think I want to do this because I really identified today that the amount we're starting with, what is it? They only got to practice out for about 3 or 4 problems today. They were just starting to get it, so I do want to refer back to that.
So we're definitely going to refer back to where do we start? How much are we starting with? And then what's step 2?
The drawing the action.
So with the action part, where is there confusion in that?
I think a lot of the time they see action and they've seen me just draw lines, so they're not thinking how many pieces, what is actually going on. That was what I saw over here a couple of times. And then the second part of this, they're not doing the right amount to start with, then they're like flip-flopping the numbers.
Did you give them a scenario of why you cut the sandwich?
In 2 pieces.
Or 3 pieces or 4 pieces? Because I think it would be powerful for them to think about, I'm having a party and 6 people are coming. So I cut this in 6. Well, the 6 people I invited somebody else. So now I need double that amount. Thinking through like a scenario of like why they cut. Because in the problem, they give them a scenario of why they're cutting. So maybe giving them a scenario of why. And so thinking through, okay, he had to cut it because he had 6. Then everybody else came, so he has to do it again. Giving them that part of the model to take it to the next part of thinking through why is he making the cut in thirds? Why is he making the cut in fourths?
Got it.
Make sense?
Yes.
So that can give them another anchor. So I think you need to script out your model, what you're going to say in the model when you model the sandwich today. And to make it a little bit different than yesterday.
Right, exactly. What I'm going to say in the model. Yeah, and today I think that I could see a misconception for tomorrow is they're going to get caught up on, oh, it's 3 feet long. 3 through 3, that's not one hole, so I first have to make sure we started with a hole, even though it's 3 feet long, it's a hole.
Oh, it's a whole sandwich.
The whole sandwich, let's see it, yeah.
Exactly.
So that's going to be the very first thing, and then I'll go into really focusing on the action.
Okay. So that's another thing for homework, script out your model in the beginning.
Okay.
Do you have it already?
Yeah.
Okay.
Model and the situation.
Now looking at this, do you think this focus big goal, these two focus big goals will help you meet your big goal of being strong at the end of the year?
Yes.
Okay. And do you think this is too much, not enough, or just right?
Just right.
I'm gonna see you tomorrow, 8:30. And then debrief at the same 10 o'clock time.
Yep.
All right, I'll see you tomorrow, same time. You can complete the survey. Right